navegantes de internet, hoy les traigo un nuevo video de Noticias Destroy All Humans y veremos el tráiler del arsenal de armas de cripto y la conferencia de IGN. Ahora vamos a ver el arsenal de armas de cripto.
Snack time.
Como vieron en el video, la única arma que no aparece es el deconstructor cuántico. Tengo muchas ganas de ver qué es lo que hace. Ahora vamos a ver la conferencia de IGN.
This is the upcoming open-world sci-fi action-adventure reboot of the classic 2005 game, and I can't wait to learn more about it. So here to help me do just that is Dennis Schleifer and Stefan Schmitz from Black Forest Games. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
It's good to see you. So we have been tracking this game for a long time here at IGN. Big fans, me particularly, because I think this does a really good job of sort of fusing comedy and chaos, which is two of my favorite genres in all of life. And so we saw this game, you know, you were showing it off around the convention cycle last year. What's new this time around? Like what are the sort of the new additions that you guys are kind of proud of here?
I mean, the first thing that is new that we have a release date, so it's coming out on 28th of July. So many people were waiting for this. And of course, we now have done the whole production and kind of can tell you a bit more about the changes we did to the original and what we kept. And I think Stefan, as our assistant creative director, might be best to talk about that.
Yeah, sure. Largely the development since we showed it off last time, I think it was at E3 last year, was that we applied a very strong level of polish to everything. The VFX look more crisp right now. The gameplay was now smoothed. We took actually some feedback that we got from earlier interviews and from fans when we showed off a few things in our trailers, and improved a bit on our PK system. It's now really fun to just toss around things and make them exactly land where you want them to land. Also a few of the additions that are very apparent is, for example, how we let the synergies between weapons and psi abilities work together. For example, with the Iron Detonator, Crypto's signature grenade-throwing weapon was an extremely nice detonation and disintegration factor to it. If you toss a grenade, if you shoot a grenade with that thing, and you pick it immediately up with PK afterwards, you can basically fling it and toss it like a dart, or it feels more like a rocket launcher when you use PK on it. So essentially, you turn one weapon into two different weapons by just trying out to fiddle around with your psychokinetic abilities around it.
So that's a big part of this, is sort of combining systems to create mayhem. And they make there's a lot of open world games where you are rebuilding things or bringing people together, doing objectives that are sort of a little bit more peaceful. This is obviously just about destruction. It's literally in the title of the game. So how is it to sort of nail that feeling of just pure mayhem? Like what's the most important thing to get right when you want players to really get in there and just wreck shop?
I think, yeah, you go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, so I think one of our biggest focus was the controls of the game. We wanted the player to always feel in control and to always know what he has to do to achieve the kind of destruction he wants to achieve. So we spent a lot of time optimizing and then looking also at later installments of the original games, how they already found solutions for control, let's say issues or criticism that people had for the first game. So we took all into into consideration and to really focus on smooth controls and a fluid gameplay. So that was one of, yeah.
Now, like in terms of traversal, I think what I really dig about this game that's super cool to me is the sort of the platforming feel of it. It's, you know, it almost feels grounded in traditional platformers, which obviously the original game kind of came out right at the tail end of that kind of renaissance of 3D platforming games. Tell me a little about traversal, because we're obviously seeing, you know, jetpacking, double jumping. It looks like almost rocket shoes. Like there's a lot of really cool ways to get around in this game.
Yeah, what we were looking at when we started the development of the game is we were looking not only at Destroy All Humans 1, but also the whole series as a whole. And one thing that was very apparent to us when we looked at Destroy All Humans 1 and 2 is essentially this power fantasy of being that the alien invader, and how much fun it is to essentially domineer your foes with these fun powers. And we had the feeling to actually build up upon them, make the jetpack, which is one of the most signature things, feel fast, powerful, and really cool to use. As you can see here right now in the example, all this zipping around, which you then can switch into a focus mode when you play with a gamepad to essentially sail around enemies. It makes it feel really fast paced, but you're totally in control about that. And to play on top of that and put it into a modern sense, in a modern setting of modes of locomotion and transportation, we added an additional dash, which is also doubling as an evasive ability if you're under fire, and the skate ability, which is an upgrade you can simply attach to crypto and go like skating on this kind of psi hover cushion while you either enjoy the view or try to get fast from A to B.
God, I love it. Yeah, I love it so much. This is exactly kind of what I look for in open world games, right? It's this sort of ability to just kind of approach things however I want. We saw an objective earlier that was basically like kill a human with a car, which you've done now several times during the length of this gameplay. What are some of your sort of like favorite weird objectives in this game, like the really crazy ones, without spoiling too much?
Stefan, I think you.
I think my favorite is right from Turnip Seed Farm. Essentially, you have two additional objectives. One of them is, kill those bovine creatures which are not reacting to the Furon invaders. And you go, okay, drown a cow in the lake. Let's try this. PK and go ploof. That's the one. And the second one is, Martha Turnipseed is still around when you have to kill the cops. So kill her with a chicken. With a chicken? Oh boy, chickens are deadly throwing weapons. I love it so much.
Oh, that is so awesome to hear. I wanted to ask about that too, because it's sort of, not about chickens, although we can always talk about chickens, but the chickens are sort of a classic comedy trope, and comedy is pretty tough in video games because comedy is about timing. And in this game, I'm like cackling and laughing almost the entire time because of a lot of the it's sort of almost vintage kind of Looney Tunes-esque comedy in this game. When you zap a car, it jiggles, and then you electrocute somebody and you see their whole skeleton. What were some of your sort of comedy influences for this game, and how do you get comedy right in a video game?
I mean, the great thing we had great material to work with. The whole storyline, the voiceovers, the way the voiceovers were done, already kind of inspired the whole team to find more in that area. So, and you're absolutely right. It's a lot about timing. It's a lot about how it actually looks then. I mean, for example, there was a long discussion what art style we should go for. Should we go for a bit more realistic? Should we go for the art style that we then chose now, which is a bit more cartoony? And the humor was one of the main aspects why we decided to go for a bit more cartoony style, since I think it lends itself better to make the game fun and not too serious. I mean, it's a game about destroying all humans, and if you would have done this, in a super realistic style, I don't know if it would have had the same charm as it does now.
Now, the vehicular combat is amazing. I love the absolute destruction that's happening right now. Tell me about some of the weapons there. We just saw is this just basically like a massive laser beam flamethrower that that can do graffiti on the ground?
That
that
weapon is.
Yep.
You go first. You go first.
The name says it all. It's a death ray, and that's what its job is. So what we added is that you can also, shoot just downwards from UFO instead of just forwards, just to kind of go with the whole UFO trope a bit more. So that's the main weapon you have from the beginning. But you also have then the quantum deconstructor and the sonic boom. I hope I said the right ones now. Stefan, correct me if I didn't.
Quantum deconstructor and sonic boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you occasionally feel bad about what you're doing here, I imagine, but ultimately, like, you are playing sort of as the bad guy, but there's a motivation there, right? Like, it's not just pure chaos. Or am I inventing that? Is this dude just ready to just wreck shop?
No. The Furens have a mission. The Furens are on Earth to collect Furen DNA that has been intermingled with the human DNA a long time ago, when sailors, so to say, from the Furens were on shore leave on Earth and did what sailors do then. And so the Furen race, as they as they clone themselves, and this degrades their DNA, they're at the point where their DNA is not strong enough anymore. So they need this fresh, old kind of Furen DNA, and that's their mission. That's the main reason why they're on Earth.
Yeah, I love that.
So
also,
while saving a race.
Oh, no, that's great. While you're saving a race while you're destroying sort of like a classic donut shop, which I like. I was wondering how that building particularly would explode, and seeing the donut just soar into the air and land back in the fire is just like, it warms my heart. I mean, it breaks my heart too, because I love donuts, but how much fun are you guys having just sort of deciding how you want things to explode, and the physics in which certain parts break off and things burst into flames and stuff like that? Because it seems like you're having a blast.
Absolutely, it is a blast. But as with games development, this is a lot of meetings, a lot of sitting together and thinking about how can we transport it, how can we stay true to the identity of this game and kind of ramp it a bit up to 11, but not too much. So we try with our designs and our implementations to find the sweet spot, really, that is kind of complementing the original game, but on the other hand feels so natural. Like Dennis has always coined the phrase for us. We're not making a remake of the original game. We're making a remake of the memories players have of that game. And I think we did a great job with that.
So one really important aspect to get the humor right in the game is to actually give the animators and the technical artists the freedom to make choices and to see how they can actually infuse humor in the work they're doing at that moment. And that was one really important thing that we made sure our team had.
No, I love it. No, thank you guys so much. I think this is the kind of game the world needs right now. It's a little bit of chaos that we can actually take control of ourselves. All right, thanks so much. We look forward to hearing more about Destroy All Humans in the future.
Espero que les haya gustado el video. Chao.
Destroy all